we set our speakers to wacky headphones, right? Okay, it is set. Yep. And run the game. Okay, well, it's still stereo. It is only playing out the wacky headphones. So we want to log enough information. Well, we certainly want to log audio detection information for the future no matter what, because that's just something you want to debug when users report to you that their stuff doesn't work. I'm going to have to look all these up because, well, you know what? Let's make this print better. Okay, so we've got this enum, and it's got these members, and I don't know why Emacs's highlighter is having such a spaz. Wait, what is config defined as? Okay. Oh, 5.1 starts with a number. Ugh. Well, whoops. There we go. Okay. Now, what did we print in? Oh, log goes to here. The sound reports speaker config stereo. So direct sound is telling us that this is stereo. I do not want that. The whole reason I bought this is so that it would tell me that it's not stereo. Well, did I maybe not save from the audio properties? Wacky headphones. Configure. I didn't do this. Okay. Now if we configure again, okay, it's set to that. So I just didn't, I got sidetracked from that, is what happened. Okay, now let's see what happens. Hey, look, we got all these channels. The music is only playing out the center. None of the other sound effects are playing. But it's working in principle. They're printing in gray down here because they don't have non-zero volume on any channels. So now is the time when, let me turn down the desktop volume again. I turned it up, but I assume it's a little too loud. Oh wait, you guys aren't getting anything on it. Maybe OBS doesn't do 5.1 that well. I don't know. OBS says no desktop volume right now. Can you guys hear the music right now? Oh, right. Okay, when I Alt-Tab, okay. Right. Is it too loud, or should I turn it down, or what? All right, we'll turn it down a bit. We turned it up before just to minimize problems. All right, so maybe that's a little bit better. So now, if this were the witness, I would know exactly what to do because you have a viewpoint in a 3D world and you sort of know what channels to map things to. I mean, it's not that obvious. It gets complicated, but you know, you sort of know. Whereas here, you got to make it up as you go along. However, some stuff is just hard-coded, right? So like music. What do we do for music? Do we send it to all the channels equally? That sounds reasonable. Do we send it to all the channels, but left and right in the front are a little bit louder and all the other ones are quieter? That sounds reasonable. I don't know. Does anyone have opinions about this? Does anyone know what other games do? What does Assassin's Creed do for music when you're on 5.1? Well, we don't have spatialization to make things sound far yet, except to make them quieter. And making things quieter doesn't really make them sound far. Why do you even need 7.1 support? Well, you're not in control of what audio device your end user is going to have, right? So you need to at least play things sensibly. We could just fall back and say, like, look, on anything above stereo, we only use front left and front right, and we ignore all the other speakers. We could do that. But, you know, we're a little bit trying to provide a code base that other people will be able to use to build on and so forth. So I feel like at least doing a little bit more. But yeah, I don't actually know what the best policy is. I mean, if someone has 5.1 and they have surround speakers in their room, the least you could do is make sound come out the rear speakers, right? So that they get some use out of their nice speakers. But yeah, it's true. When it comes to like Do we actually need spatialization in this game? I don't know. I doubt it, but we might do a little bit. Like maybe if something is sort of toward the left of the screen, it gets a little bit more in the left speaker, and if it's toward the right of the screen, it gets a little bit more in the right speaker. Like just to bring life to the game a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Was the ambient music mastered in 7.1? Well, no, this isn't the real music for the final game. These are just tracks that I got off the internet. They're just stereo right now. Couldn't you have the frame of reference just be the center of the level for now? We could do that. We could spatialize all the sounds like that. However, I'm a little bit worried that that would produce disorienting results. I mean, we could just have the viewpoint be the current camera. We could do it just like if it was a 3D game with a person standing right where the camera is, because that'll give us a little bit of left-right. It might not be enough, but it might. So I may be inclined to do that. But we need to decide about music, because Witness didn't have this kind of music. So what do? I think for music, we play it out all the speakers except, do we want front left and front right louder, or do we want center louder? I don't actually know. I don't actually know. Having locations of sound not be relative to the camera is disorienting. Well, I mean, I don't know if it's disorienting. Like all 2D games ever in the arcade, for example, did that. They just play sounds, right? Yeah, I don't think you want to... I think it would be disorienting if turning your character in 2D would cause sound to move around. That would be weird. But fixing it to the camera is pretty good. Does Windows not have a way for someone with a 5.1 system to choose how stereo will be upmixed? Dude, Windows won't even let you swap your speakers if your left is coming out your right and your right is coming out your left. You can't do it. There's no way to do it. So yeah, don't ask Windows to do anything sophisticated. They have all their programmers too busy trying to force you to use the Windows Store, trying to force you to update and reboot every 2 hours to do functionality like that. Wouldn't that be best just to output stereo and let the user have the say over the balance? No, because we need to output 5.1 or 7.1. That's just what we're outputting. Left channel down, left rear and left front, right channel down, right rear, right front, and both channels out center. Yeah, that's true. So let's do that if it's stereo music. If it's mono music, yeah. Okay, let's just start doing some things. Okay. So let's go to the person who makes these decisions is actually this file, right? And when something is music, we say for locked output. Okay. So if the number of channels is 2, we do this, right? Which I don't think we really want to change. So like it's a direct stereo mapping if it's a stereo input and stereo output and whatever. What we're doing is here, I guess we don't really initialize the source directions. But as we were saying, we want to do something more sophisticated. If we're just going to do a special routine for the music. If stream.category is equal to sound category.music, update panning for many channel music player stream gain scale. Return. Okay. Many channel music. Okay. If it's mono, well, and stream.num channels is less than or equal to 2, right? Because like if it claims to be music, but it has a lot of channels, then who knows, we're going to have to figure something out. Okay. So, assert this. Okay, if stream num channels is equal to 1, then we do something and then return. Otherwise, if we get here, the input is 2 channels. Okay. So, if it's mono, then we'll do the following. Channel stream dot channels 0 or stream dot mapping, right? Input scale mappings 0. So now, how do we know? We have to know which output channels we support. Okay, right. We only support 6 or 8, right? Assert player.handler.num channels is equal to 6, or it's equal to 8, right? So that's 5.1 and 7.1. If we want to get more sophisticated than that later, we could do that, but that's just what we're supporting right now. So if it's a mono music, then we say mapping dot what is the mapping? It's called a scale mapping. Source scale for this, okay. Output index. Okay, scales. Oh, that's not, we don't want to do that. Oh. because we don't want to copy this array by value and then write things into there. Well, let's just not even, you know what? Let's just do it. So, front left right? So front is going to be, let's call it 1.0. Center is 1.0. Front is 0.8. Rear 0.5, right? Make these configurable at some point, question mark. I guess I should test all this with a mono music file at some point, right? So front left, front right, rear left and rear right, rear, rear, and then extend speakers we're not going to worry about. Center forward. I never know how much to put to the subwoofer. I'm going to assume that it has its own filter on it, and we'll just treat it like a center with an extra subwoofer, right? Okay. Okay, does that compile? Oh, geez, we're still running the game. Center forward undeclared identifier using oh, geez. Okay, wait, these aren't source directions. Right, I was confused. These aren't source directions. These are audio channels. So they do have slightly different names. This is just center, and this is just subwoofer. I hope that's right. Update panning for many channel music. Let's call it helper. Okay, so that's going to compile. Now, let's do the same thing, right? So if it's two channels, we're just going to send the left channel to all these as if it were mono. And I just want to see that that output is correct. There we go. I put on the wrong headphones. So it does look higher in the front than the rear, and the most in the center and subwoofer. The music does sound a lot more dead than before because, hey, we are not you know, we're only playing one channel instead of both channels. Okay, so now, I mean, let's lift these out, right? Here to there. We're going to use the same ones, and we're going to make a new one though called cross. Although, I mean, if it's for music, you shouldn't. cross at all? No. Okay, so we're getting the pointers to left and right, and all this mapping, right, is left, and then we're going to copy that to right. No. Okay, and then left doesn't go to the right speakers, and right doesn't go to the left speakers. And, you know. But I sort of feel like center should be less loud than left or right. You know? So actually, these things, when I said let's share these values, let's not share these values. Right? So here, because unlike mono, we presume the two channels are coming from a bit off to their respective sides, so the channels are quieter than the front, etc. So front is going to be 1. Center is going to be like 0.7, right? And then rear can be 0.5 as well, right? That's what I think. It still looks louder in the center. Let's make sure we're even going down this code path. We are. What's going on? Oh, because we're adding the 2 for the center. So what we're seeing in the center is like both waveforms adding up. Maybe 0.7 is still better mathematically. Well, I mean, I guess that's right, sorta. When I comment with a tag, is that handled by the language or just a personal way? It's my personal way of keeping track of things that I can search for later. And it's not exactly to-dos. It's a different thing. When I put an @ sign, that's a to-do. But when I do this, this says, it's like a hyperlink. It's like this comment also refers to something else elsewhere in the program. So what I'm saying here is that, you know, this comment is also related to this comment, right? A lot of the time you have some, these are very close together, so you might figure that out, but sometimes you're referring to things in totally different files. Why does the num channels being equal to 1 correspond to 7.1? That is not what it is. This is the source file. So this is if your music is mono. All right, let's make a mono music file to test this out, because we tested stereo. What's a good, okay. I need to download a song. All right. I need to get a song that's on YouTube. Format OGG. Yeah, download it straight into OGG, please. Okay. Download. Okay. Chacos.ogg. So come on, run tree data, music. And we'll assume this is stereo. And then we'll copy that into mono. We're going to go into Goldwave and mix it down into mono. Yeah, effect. I know there's a way to convert to mono. And I could just save one channel, but that's not as good. Okay. Goldwave convert to mono. I guess I could save it as, just save it as an OGG file, right, with one channel. Attributes. He added multi-channel. I sent, so back when we were working on The Witness, I sent a grumpy email to the Goldwave guy, like, we're trying to load 5.1 sounds and it crashes, and he's like, we don't support that. Okay. So I'm saving it with a reduced number of channels, and hopefully it does a sane mix. Update with the new format, yes, okay. So now I should be able to run the game, and I believe we added a music command before. Right, so I could go here, and I could go music, Chacos, mono.
It's raining chacos from out of the sky. Choco tacos.
All right, so that appears to have worked the first time. Sorry, I alt-tabbing out for a bit.
Swag, boom, and read. Rain and chacos, yum, 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 yummity, yum. It's like a tree.
I wanted to get something that YouTube wouldn't take down, so.
Chocolate shell ice cream. Chocolate shell ice cream. Chocolate shell.
Yeah, it's the Choco Taco song. There's a video on YouTube.
Ream.
It's raining chocolate.
Okay, so
Raining chocolate.
it looks like we're mixing reasonably in this case.
Raining chocolate. It's raining. It's raining chocolate. It's raining chocolates. Raining chocolates. It's raining
So that's enough to check in and declare partial victory.
Trout.
It's raining chocolate.
And then the next thing we do is sound effects. It's great when things work the first time, though, don't they? All right,
It's raining chocolate.
enough repeat. So we got to check those in, though. Well, let's play it in stereo just to make sure nothing's wrong. So that's playing
It's
correctly as
raining
well.
chocos from out of the sky.
Does sound more lively.
Tacos. No need to ask why. Just strap on your vest and close your eyes. It's raining choco.
Okay. Okay. Any questions about what we did here? Mix music reasonably to 5.1. For 7.1, we're not playing music out any of the additional channels, which may or may not be a good thing. I don't know. I don't know if people have opinions about that. I'll heat up some tea. Questions? Anyone? Play some ads. No. Do I prefer OGs over waves? Is it simply that OGs are a good way to serve compressed audio? Yeah, the files are way smaller if it's OG. Wave files for like a 3-minute long song are going to be very big, and then if you have a bunch of those in a game, that gets very, very big. OG is a pretty old format at this point. Supposedly, you know, the people who did OG did this thing called Opus that's supposed to be better. And I put Opus support in the Witness engine, but took it back out again because it seemed really bad for environmental sound effects, which is most of what we needed to compress. However, oh, maybe we actually even theoretically support Opus in this engine. I don't remember. Let me see. OG. So OG compressed could have Opus. So create OG decoder. Let's look at where that is. Decoder. Cache decoder. No, we don't have the Opus support here. We could put it back in at some point. It's just, I didn't like the results. When I tweeted at those guys, they said, oh, it shouldn't be any worse than OG, but it totally sounded like it to me. So, but it might be good for music. It's supposed to get a better compression ratio. Roller Coaster Tycoon shipped WAV files for music, and it was almost the entire size of the game. Yeah, totally. So Ogg is a container format that can have other formats inside it. It's over abstraction. Like, nobody cares about your container format. Like, it's not, your video format should just be its own container as far as I care. I'm spilling tea already. Okay, well, what we should do now, spilling tea all over my mouse and everything. And after we spill tea all over my mouse and everything, we should try just turning on spatialization and see if it works. I don't know if it'll work because I don't think we really enabled all the lower level stuff in this mixer, but we'll find out. Why does my microphone keep going down? I kind of want it up here for good sound quality. I don't know what my problem is there. Will the game ship with that song in a Wonka-esque challenge map? Well, I can't promise that. Yum, 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 yummity, yum. All right. All right. I just want to see. Oh, right. Remember, we enabled all these in an earlier stream. So it could conceivably work. That was obviously a search and replace casualty. Anyway, how do we... So position and orientation. Listener position, there we go. So I think most of our effects are stereo. So something funny could be happening there. Anyway, let's set the listener position and listener orientation every frame. We might already be doing that, but let's do it. So and I think we're going to have to turn up our default radii. Well, I don't... Yeah, this concept is not going to play very well with this weird camera thing, but we'll deal with it. We'll deal with it. These should be settable by the user eventually anyway. They shouldn't be hard-coded like this. We still have very little in our... sound tweaks file. So that's not going to be affecting very much. In fact, troll attack is not even really a thing. Or maybe, I don't know. We're not really setting any radii there. So, well, yeah. Let's check the, let's make sure okay, spatialized has to be set. So we call this update listener. Do we call this? Maybe. We do. Well, do we set spatialized? No. It is never set. Well, not by that. Maybe we set it here. Okay. So this is sort of the user side thing, so that we can abstract the mixer logic away from everything else. You sort of do the translation of what sounds get played based on what entities. So I don't know if that's really going to solve our problems. Let's start turning music off by default so we can hear other things. Where's campaign state defined? Just going to set, it says it's here. There it is. So music, music volume. Where is that? It's in menu state. Well, we're going to start with music off, just so we can hear things. All right, well, right now, our sounds are getting mixed into nothing. But the thing to do is going to be, we'll step in the debugger. Let's close Windows. All right. So, yeah, I don't want any of these breakpoints, you stupid. Boy, I'm so glad I have an IDE. Okay. So, we're going to go to modules, mixer, and we're going to go to update desired update panning helper. I think this is it. Okay, I don't know why. Oh, because the music stream is playing. So we have to say, but it's playing at volume 0 so that when you turn it on, it'll be in the right place. So we'll say gain scale is greater than 0. Okay. So now we're not breaking in there. There we go. Now this should be a stream for a sound effect. So let's see. Stream, channels 2. Sound data, fighter move, right, because my guy is moving. Okay. It's not locked output. That's correct. I don't know if we're setting the orientations of these. We're not setting the positions. They're all at the origin. That's a problem. We should still be able to hear them because the origin is on the map. Okay, let me start writing things down. So set source positions. So I wanted to look at the listener stuff to make sure that is set. Listener position and orientation are also not set. Why not? That's messed up. Is this like a different... Why do we have an update audio? Okay, update audio calls update sound player, which calls do stream entity pass, which calls all this stuff. We should have called update listener. Oh God, these are just local variables that don't do anything. All right. Well, okay. You would think that I would have looked at the code when I paged there before, but I didn't. I just saw that we were calling the routine. I didn't look at what we were calling it on. Update listener. Okay. So this normally I would say isn't the problem. It's probably not the problem because, you know, but if we have every source at the origin and the listener at the origin, like maybe there's a singularity happening that's no good. I mean, we should be robust to singularities eventually, but maybe we're not right now. And anyway, this is not correct. So camera all this stuff goes in there. Because every entity manager has its own camera. Like that. No. All right. I should have my chat up so I can see it. Okay, so we're still volume 0. That's fine. Let's also set source positions before we go debug this again. Oh, we do set source positions. That's very strange. Maybe we don't set the positions on the sound. Where's that live? Oh, bananas has a play sound. Okay. When we play sound on an entity, okay, so we're just setting these once. We're not tracking these every frame yet. So the sound's position is e.visual position, because we have a different visual from physical position in this game. Orientation is e.orientation. We're probably not going to use the orientation much, but we might. Okay. Okay, so now we still don't see anything, but that is really not a surprise. So now we'll build a debug build again. This is the surround sound headset that we ordered the other day, yes. This is the surround sound. That's why when we run and I press F2, oh well, wait, why? Why when I press F2 you see all these channels? Because this headset has so many channels. Conditions, gain. Sure glad I have an IDE. All right, so step. Now, stream. Position is still 0. Bro. Sound. Entity. Undoable data. Position is 0. What? Okay, when we play the footsteps, we must not be playing them through the entity. You know, I bet a lot of our sounds... Yeah. Yeah, okay. So a lot of our sounds are being played. Let me show you. We looked at this a second ago. A lot of our sounds are probably being played through this, which doesn't actually play them at a position and no position gets set. So really what we want to do is we want to set the spatialized here, which I believe spatialized, yes. So sound.flags issued sound spatialized. So then going back here to this hack that I just did about setting spatialized, we will only set that spatialized. Now, if we get a sound that's not spatialized, do we treat it the way that we treat music? Should we pass it through the same routine? I'm not sure. I guess. Okay, but now we can at least look at what it's trying to do for that. Wow, this microphone is getting looser. over time. All right. Did I test the frequency response? No. It's probably not that good. I don't really, you know, frequency response is not the reason I bought these headphones. So it's okay. I don't think the surround sound is particularly good, but of course I haven't tested it on anything super immersive. But no, I don't think the surround sound is good. The name of this engine is the super amazing, brilliant, better than Unity Godot Master Amazo engine. Yeah. Okay. So we're only setting the spatialized flags. It's not mattering in terms of us hearing the sound or not, but again, that's not too surprising. So okay. We call update panning helper on everyone, and that is setting 0 volume. Okay. So it's not locked output. We determined that. We do some stuff. We're not in 2 channels. We're in like 6 or 8. And we're doing something funny here that this is something funny that we did for the witness that you probably want to do something like it. Yeah. Except, of course, that we are not spatialized. Okay. If stream dot, is it channels? Stream dot num channels is less than or equal to 2 and not stream dot flags and spatialized. If that is the case, locked output equals true. Treat it just like music if not spatialized. So then we only have to deal with spatialized sounds. I don't know. I mean, it was my theory that this is what it is, but let's see. Hey, we can hear it now. Okay. It's all going to the center, which is not good. That's what was happening to music before we did stuff with it. Right. There we go. Okay. So now the next step. I wonder if any of those were spatialized. The next step is going to be. She doesn't make a movement sound. A lot of the characters don't. This guy does, though. Okay. So now when we play footsteps, we want it to actually be spatialized. And then that won't work. And then we'll make it work. Right? So move, oh, is it in Sokoban? Move sound. There we go. And then I'm going to put on the list audit play sound calls to spatialize. Right. Right. Okay. Whoa. Okay. I mean, how do I know if that really works? Can I just go really far to the right and it'll stop being in the left eventually? Doesn't seem like it's changing. Who knows what that means? All right, well, this is a good point to just snoop in the debugger. See what we're doing. I guess we play some sounds at startup. Okay. So, actually, let's disable this for a second. Let's walk the guy off to the left. Wait, why no sound now? Wait, what? Did I not recompile correctly? Or do we have a Heisenbug where it only happens in the debugger? Or, yeah, no, I didn't recompile correctly. I bet if you go watch the VOD, I screwed something up. So we can't, so as I said before, I said, oh, when we spatialize, we're not going to hear the thing, and we don't. So that's fine. Now we go in the debugger, figure out why. Yum, 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 yum. Oh, wait, we're not. Okay, well, it doesn't ever get here. Really? Okay, it must be because the gain scale. All right. We need a way to exclude the music. We'll say conditions. I believe 1 is music, so stream arrow flags is not equal to 1. Don't bother me with the music track, only when I walk. There we go. So what's going to happen is it's going to say volume 0. What is X? X is 0. Okay, well, I meant to put this breakpoint up here. Can I like actually move this? Line 872. Oh my God. Many years ago, you used to be able to drag that, and then they just rewrote Visual Studio, and it became a garbage. Okay. Well, stream's position is 3.5. That looks valid. Player's listener position. The listener vectors are all set. Listener position is fine. Okay. So what is volume? Volume 0.25. Player arrow mix props 1. Okay, that's good. Volume scale due to entity manager. Okay, I bet that's, oh no, that if that were 0, then it would affect everything. Well, let's just see what volume is after this. Volume 0.25, and then it'll still be 0.25, yeah. Okay, if the stream is spatialized, extra parentheses because this came from C++. The distance is a thing. Okay, are we not copying the inner and outer radius? Or are our default, oh, we are copying them, but our defaults are probably coming from entity issued sound, and they're much lower because I didn't raise those. Right, so streams inner and outer radius are going to be low numbers. 1 to 10, of course we're further than 10. Okay. Okay, well. Inner radius is 10, 500. Okay. Still no. Still no. Oh, did I not? Let's make sure we recompile. No. Wow, okay. Okay, I dig it. Let's disable this one permanently and then this one for a bit. We just, whatever sound we're playing at start has to go by. Okay, so we're going and we'll enable and walk. Stream. 1 to 10. Why? Am I setting these somewhere else? Sound. Inner radius 1, outer radius 10. What the hell? Do I have in all dot variables inner? No. I did recompile, right? You guys saw that. Maybe I set them. Inner radius equals sound catalog. Inner radius equals t dot inner radius, right? Okay. Oh, the tweaks. Right, even if I don't set the tweak, we get the value. Where is the tweak defined? What's it called? I just did this the other day. Just did this the other day. I don't remember. Tweaks. Oh, sound tweaks. Okay. Okay. Well, that's annoying. All right. So what happens? Still no. Okay, wait. Compile. It compiled, it succeeded. Run. Because we had it open. God, seriously? Seriously? Well, maybe there's even more problems. Whoops, debug build. Debug build. Did we? Disable. Go. Enable. And stream. Inner radius 20, outer 500. Great. Perceptual is what? 1. Great. Volume scale linear. Update panning helper. So we got past one problem and we're now in another problem. Okay. Plane dir. This is like a 2D vector that like pans around. It's in a sensible direction, mostly along the x-axis, which x is forward, right? And it's got a y component, which means it's a little bit to the left. It's this is a right-handed coordinate system with x forward. So that is correct. So maybe the VBAP positions are messed up. I don't know. Let's look at this arc. Speaker 1 and speaker 2, these don't look good. These do not look good. Did they never get initialized? Like, what's going on? Arc sub 0 is fine. Wait. How come our arcs array is okay, but our actual arc, right? Our actual arc is totally messed up. And in fact, our gain value looks like it got those messed up floating point numbers. Do we have an iterator error when doing structs? It's possible. Oh, but also the inverses are not set. Okay, so that's not valid either. But like, this is all messed up. So I think we have a compiler bug. Let's try that. Gain scale is greater than 0. We can go back to that easier debugging thing. All right, so There we go. So now arc still is garbage. What? Index 0. Oh, maybe maybe we don't correctly iterate over. That's weird. Maybe it's that it's a global variable. I don't know. Compiler bug time. There's always a possibility also. Compiler bug. Still garbage. What is going on? Like for loops just work, so I don't understand. I don't understand why this is not working all of a sudden. But, well, that'll be a good thing to find. Okay, so we just keep doing it till it works. 4, 0, 2, arcs dot count -1. Arc is arcs it's. Right? Let's try that. It index is it. Okay. Well, it's still garbage. I'm so confused. Could it just be a debug info problem? Seemingly not, because wait, now gain is not a garbage anymore. But it's multiplying by a zero matrix. What is happening? What is happening? Why am I still wearing these headphones? They're uncomfortable. Okay. I don't know. I don't know what's going on here. I honestly don't know. What's going on is I quit video games. Okay, let's fix one thing at a time. Let's make sure these inverses get set. All right? Those get computed here. maybe it's the same problem here where we're iterating over these arcs and it's not working for whatever reason. I am confused. Like, since when does iterating over an array not work? Like that, we do that all the time. We do that every 5 seconds in this language. Like, it's just not even, it's not even funny. Yeah. So here we set these. And we should get a default matrix 2 for this, which is all zeros, which is in fact what we see. So invert. This thing that inverts, let's go there. I just saved the file, so we're going to have to recompile. Okay. All right. No, not there. Not there. Debugger. Run in the debugger, please. Okay. 6 channels. 5.1. Awesome. Boom. Okay. Arcs is an array. Look, it's valid. We got enums. Now we're iterating. Oh, arc is valid now. Okay. Maybe it's just a debug info problem in that other routine, and it's actually fine. And this is just the real problem. Okay. So we have a speaker straight ahead. That's the center speaker. We have a speaker 45 degrees to the left. That's the front left speaker, right? Yeah, front left, center. So these, so remember X is forward. So 1, 0 is directly forward. That's the center speaker. And 0.7, but with Y is 0.7, that's 45 degrees off to the left. Okay, this is right so far. And we did get an inverse. Okay. So what's the deal there? All right, so if I print arcs, data, comma 5 or whatever, it's gone. Oh God. We're writing into a local copy. I need to make this a read-only thing. This, when you design a language, you should pay attention to what are the most common mistakes. This is the most common mistake. And I'm not going to make a note because I have it down somewhere. But like iterating over something by value and then thinking you're modifying the entry of the array, that is the mistake I've made more than any other one in this language. All right. Hey, I can hear it. Look, it's in left and center. With a little bit in right. Now he's on right. Now he's on left. It's not really going to the rear speakers at all, but you probably have to go pretty far behind the viewpoint. to get to the rear speakers? I don't know. We'll check that. Well, no, you can never really get behind the camera. Like, spatially, because behind the camera would be up in the air. So if we want off the bottom of the screen to mean rear, then we're gonna have to make something for that. Anyway, you can see and hopefully hear it bopping back and forth between left and right as my guy goes. That's enough to declare victory for the evening, frankly. And then, you know, maybe the next step is to think about what the mapping should be. Like, is it weird if I walk off the screen to the south here to start playing in the rear speakers, or does that make sense? I mean, maybe it makes sense in terms of thinking about a 2D game. I don't know. Okay, so we're going to check this in. Then I'm going to check to make oh, somebody's working on the game. Okay. Someone just checked in a bunch of stuff between the last edit and this edit. Might be Orshi. Someone who's light mapping. Although that looked like one of Maya's levels. Oh, you know, actually, I haven't updated in a long time. That's kind of a mistake. Yeah, so I never can read these frickin' things. So their file changed. Like, why is it equals instead of minus? Like, I don't. Their file changed this to this. It just took out e.entity manager and mine. So we're just going to say use this. I hope that was the only conflict. Oops. All right, we'll find out. Let's build. Okay, Ignacio checked in some stuff. Hope that's there. All right, does it run? Okay, so we commit and we say more reasonable spatialized sound. Then I put back on speakers and I want to make sure that we get reasonable sound for speakers. First of all, with sound effects. So we didn't break that. There, we're louder in left than right. That's good. And I'm going to take a short break. And we'll have a musical interlude during the break. But during that interlude, you can... Let's get WordPad. You can address any questions about what we're doing to me. Why didn't I just run my slideshow program? So the reason I'm putting this down here is so it'll be behind here, so that when I go here, oh, was it the not the name of it? It was. Why didn't that go? Oh, because music is off. We got to start from the beginning. There we go. All right, address questions to me. We'll be back in a minute. Except I realize that desktop audio is not set to the right thing. There we go.
It's raining chocos from out of the sky. Choco tacos. No need to ask why. Just strap on your vest and close your eyes. It's raining chocos. It's raining chocos. King of Pochinki. Choco tacos. A Christian stream. Squads with the boys. Swag, boom, and read. It's raining chocos. Yum, 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 yummity yum. It's like a tree. Yum, 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 yummity yum. Bring your ice cream.
Chocolate, shell, ice, cream, chocolate, shell, ice, cream, chocolate, shell, ice, cream, shroud, swag, ream.
It's raining chocos. Raining chocos. Raining chocos. It's raining chocos. It's raining chocos. Raining chocos. It's raining chocos. It's raining.
Shroud,
It's raining chocos.
ream.
I need more break time. The tea's not ready yet, so you know what you get.
It's raining.
Okay, let's see what we have for questions. Questions. What do you think about learning low-level programming to better understand it at a higher level? I think that's a good idea. When I was in school, even if you were programming in a high-level language, it was sort of expected that you knew what that code turned into on the CPU where it was running on. And that is not something that programmers seem to know today. And I think if you know that, it makes you a much better programmer, frankly. Because you're not just like blundering around in the darkness and fog. Do you use events system or just call functions directly? What do you mean by an event system? Do you mean like node.js or something? No, you call functions directly, if that's what you mean. Because event systems are like they're like many other things in programming where they're just some trend that shows up that people think sounds cool, but they don't think through it all the way or think about what they're missing or giving up or whatnot, right? Control flow in an imperative language is one of the most powerful things that there is in all of computer engineering, right? And in an event-based system, you're saying, I'm going to give up my control flow and it's just going to kind of get, I'm just going to kind of get called sometimes. It really weakens your ability to write a powerful program and your ability to reason about what the state of the program is at any particular time, because you don't know what's going on when some event calls you. So no, I don't like event-based systems. I fooled around with stuff like that way back in the late 90s when I was learning to program. I built some systems like, not when I was learning to program, when I was becoming a professional game programmer, and because I've been programming since I was 10, but like, you know, when I started doing real serious hard stuff, I built some event systems because it seemed like a nice way to abstract things, and no, it's really not. You don't want it. Even systems that are based on events are usually bad. So like the Windows event system, like the way you get mouse and resize events for your Windows and stuff in the Windows OS, the fact that it's message-based is fine, but the fact that it's through a callback that's like this event-driven callback thing is awful. And it would be much better if you could just like peak event and do the events. Yeah. Do we want to ship the language with its own debugger, or will it use the VS debugger like you do now? When we ship it initially, it'll use whatever debugger that you use with it. We are not in the business of building a debugger right now. In the long-term future, I don't know. But right now, no. What's the name of this new game? It doesn't have an official name yet. All we need now is a Rain Chacos compiler directive next to Go Bananas. That's true. That's true. Maybe he means an events listener. Well, I don't know what the difference is between an events listener and something else. Like, you got to realize there's all sorts of different subcultures in programming, and they all call the same set of 5 ideas 17 different things. It's absurd. Event systems work in some circumstances. APIs are a good example. I don't agree. I do not agree. I think almost every single time that you have an event system, it is better done in a different way. That is what my experience has taught me. Well, REST APIs. Look, anything to do with the web is terrible, okay? Let's just start there. As the lead designer and ultimate decision maker, is it ever challenging to make sure your developers aren't blocked waiting for you to make some major decision? Yes, it is very challenging. That is a common problem. It was a much bigger problem even on the Witness than it is now, because the Witness was really hard to design. And it was an art game that I was worried about breaking by, like, if I just say, screw it, let's just make some decision a certain way because people are blocked and need to get work done, then you kind of destroy the art of the art game. So there were times when I took several months to figure things out when I wished I could do it a lot faster. On this game, I'm not the bottleneck in that way so much, but definitely If I could program more, that would be better. You're welcome for saying thanks for streaming all this. You know, I mean, I never know how entertaining it is to sit there and watch someone stare at a program trying to make it work, but for people who find that interesting, then I think it's good to show, you know, here's what professional game programming actually looks like, right? Like, I don't just stream simple stuff and I don't just stream easy stuff. I mean, I don't stream everything because there's things that I don't want to spoil that we have under wraps, but I definitely, you know, the thing that we did today with audio is not a particularly sexy thing, but we did it and it works now. So, you know, I mean, it's going to need more development, but it's basically there. So that's good. Well, if there aren't more questions, I'm starting to get tired, but I'm not totally tired yet. So we might do this item on the list that says audit play sound calls and make sure they spatialize. And when we do that, well, there's a different thing, which is like update sound positions each frame, because recall that we were not doing that. We were just setting it when the sound plays. I don't think we're going to do that tonight, but we'll do it sometime soon. The only thing frustrating about the stream is when you've got a bug and I'm like, oh, I bet I could figure this out if I could just see the whole file. I want to help. Yeah, it's a limitation of the format. It's true. It's true. Okay. Let's look at our play sound calls. Text not caring about endianness is a weak reason, because you just declare your file format has a certain endianness and then people just read that. Like, it's not hard. It's very straightforward. Very, very, very straightforward. And it's actually not true that text files don't care about endianness exactly. Like, you know, Unicode, UTF-8 has an endianness to it. It's just defined as part of the standard, so you don't think about it. It's exactly the same with file formats, right? The reason people are confused about endianness is because they're just confused. It's simple. It is simple. Okay. Okay. Audit play sound calls to spatialize. Yes. So let's look for calls to play sound. Let's go to our play sound while we're searching for that. Where'd we go? Seeing sound. Ugh. Where'd it go? There it is. Okay. So in the version that plays the spatialized version, this is this one, we want to set a source ID on the issued sound because, you know, we need to track it every frame later. We're not going to do that yet, like I said, but we're going to track that every frame later. And we don't have such a thing yet. So I'm going to make a source entity ID. Anything we put in here can be serialized, and that's scary. So we need to set a version. Let me just make sure I'm doing that right, because I don't totally do it. Yeah, we just say version and then whatever. Okay. So we won't try to load this if we load a version 1, but again, the version is implicitly 1 if you don't declare. So there we go. Okay. I mean, we could verify that we still load and stuff. I mean, I don't exactly know that we have sounds in the source files, but we might. We conceivably might. Okay. Play sounds. Sound.source entity ID is e.entity ID. So now later on, for every sound that's playing, we'll look up the ID and get the entity's position and orientation and update it. Later, we'll do that. Okay, so that's that part of it. And then here we want to go through all these, and when we play a sound that it makes sense to attach to an entity, which is probably most of the time, we'll make sure we play it on the entity. So, play sound. Yes, so here we have a rocket splashing into the water. Cannot mirror. Let's put that on the guy. No, because that's global. Okay. So that's global, that's not spatialized. That's fine. We might want to do this a few times. So, okay, teleports. Who is teleporting here? Oh, that's a mirror, guys. Okay. So maybe we want to play two sounds, one at the teleport start position, one at the end position. This will give us some nice subtle variance based on these positions relative to the camera. But for now, it'll be E. E has already moved, so this sound is at the destination position. If we want to play one at the source position that like doesn't move, we would need to have a slightly different routine that like plays it and then unhooks it from the entity, which we could do. Okay, play sound. Clone unify for E. Okay, that's it in that file. Sokoban. Play sound. Mover is making this sound. So in case it's not clear, when I pass the entity manager as the first argument, that's a different overload. So it might look like I'm not doing much by changing this first argument, but I'm changing it to an entity source, and that means we're actually calling a different procedure called the same name, right? That's why I'm doing this. Okay. So this is fine. This entity is going to get destroyed, but when we look it up on subsequent frames, we just won't find it. And since it's a spatialized sound, we'll let it play to completion. I mean, you have a policy decision to make there about what you want to do. Yeah, most of these there's a clear source that you want to play it from. I don't know if I return anything here, but okay. Let's make the formatting on each of these roughly the same. Okay. It's like I just forgot that I had. I don't record. I would like to play this sound from a dragon, but we're probably going to change this enough that it's not worth putting effort in right now because, yeah. Same here. Okay. So easy, it's just tedious because of all these sounds. Okay, that's every play sound in that file. Hopefully the rest of them don't have so many. But this will, you know, because we're panning based on position, we're not just changing this arbitrarily, but it's going to sound a little different, and hopefully we'll get a little bit more character. The sound effects are still terrible, so we won't get a ton more character, but these are already the right thing. But we'll get a little. I don't think there's any in sound catalog, but yeah, that's just calling other overloads. Skip. I could do a regex search and replace, except I hate doing that in Emacs, so I would rather just do this, frankly. Like every 5 years I figure out regex search and replace, and then try 5 different versions till I find the thing that matches. It's so terrible. Okay, that's this file. That can be unspatialized for now. That's the only play sound there. We're getting down toward the list. Bananas we're not going to touch. That's not part of the game. Play menu sound. Menu sounds are not spatialized right now. Play music. That's not spatialized. Checkpoint sound, not spatialized. That's it. Okay. Developer commands, that's going to be Yeah, it's just our command and falling. All right. Attempt to dereference a non... Oh, because that play sound doesn't return a thing. All right. Well, let's go back to the 5.1 that doesn't spatialize very well. I'm going to cross off my audit. Put on the wacky headphones. Whoa, compiler crash. What? Oh my God. This is bad news, folks. Okay, well, it claims to have compiled that time. We might have to have a compiler debugging session soon. Okay, so see, I'm turning this to stone on the left, and it's mostly in the left with some center. Now it's on the right. Really, I don't see much on the left. I think we're going to want more on the left for a case like this, because you don't want it to be at 0. But, you know, it's basically doing the right thing. That went global because we don't, that was the goblin attack, which we don't have spatialization for. Pushing. That's on the left. Whoops. Got killed because I couldn't see. On the right. There we go. Yeah, so we're going to want like more boost on the other side for these sounds and a little more center, but we're doing okay for now. I'm getting hungry, but we're about at the end of the stream. That feels like maybe it's not spatial. Oh yeah, it is. Okay, they were just a little toward the center. All right, any final questions before we sign off the stream and find someone to host? Questions about what we did today? Dirty Dan 8622 just subscribed with a tier 1 sub. Thank you. I don't want to turn my stream into something where you thank all the subs all the time, but on rare occasions, why not? Why not? The reason I don't want to do that is just because, like, it's good to thank the people that are interested in supporting you and all that, but if you turn the entire stream for everyone into people listening to thank yous, then nobody actually gets content in terms of information. So, you know, you got balance. You mentioned you like having higher channels in source audio and down mixing, but I cannot remember why. Well, it's just the audio people like that. Well, it depends. It's very situational. In The Witness, we had, for example, a lot of environmental sounds, and those were all authored as 4.1 with, like, you know, front left, front right, rear left, rear right, center, or something like that. And then if you had 5.1 or 7.1, we play those from those positions, not spatialized, because that was weird, but just like locked into position. And if you didn't have 5.1, if you're just stereo, then we down mix, right? But it gives us the potential to have more sounds coming from more directions. Has making a language turned out to be easier or harder than you thought? I'm not a noob at language making. I've made like 10 programming languages. Most of them, you know, or none of them prior to this have been serious production languages. But I'm relatively experienced in that area, and so it's exactly as the amount of effort that I thought it would be. Which is to say, a lot, but it's not as hard as people think, actually, if you do it well. Did I make any SO-langs? I don't know what an SO-lang is. An esoteric programming language. Well, obviously, but I don't know what that means. I used to program in Intercal back before these weak-ass languages that they have today. Do I like Seattle or SF better? I like SF better, even though SF is really crappy these days. I've watched it go downhill over the past 10 or 20 years. It's just that all the interesting things, activities that I like to do are here, so I like it better, and the weather's better. I actually wrote programs in Intercal in college, like a few, you know. We had a good, successful stream today. Well, we had, you know, we had some debugging on the undo system that took longer than I would have liked, but then we eventually solved that. And then we got the audio rolling for 5.1. And like I said, that's going to take more tuning to sound good. A lot of that tuning may happen in conjunction with the audio people, like figuring out exactly what the policy is. But some of it is going to be, you know, just, I think maybe we'll do next stream a little bit more factoring to not have so much stuff hard-coded in the mixer in terms of assumptions of how you would like things to be treated, you know, just so that user programs have more ability to control how things sound without changing the code. So let me write that down.